a Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and this is another in our podcast series with fundraising managers who love to run. And our guest today, Adam, absolutely loves to run. So he's going to talk to us about his adventures, and there have been a lot of them. And he's also going to share his advice on fundraising. He's been fundraising for a long time, pretty much at every event. So great to have you with us, Adam. Tell us first all about your sort of running career to date and tell us where you work.
Yeah, cheers, Tim. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, so I'm working at Alder Children's Charity currently. I'm the running and challenge manager there. Alder treats 450,000 patients every single year, which makes us one of the biggest and busiest children's hospitals in Europe. So it's a fantastic cause. And my running career, I don't know if you'd call it career, but yeah, love running. I've trained all my life, but really started getting into running quite seriously probably about 5-6 years ago. Started off doing a challenge in lockdown when everyone had a little bit more time. And I'd done the Canada Club Challenge in July 2020. So the first of July, 1 kilometre, 2nd of July, 2 kilometres, 30th of July, 30 kilometres. And that equaled up to 500 kilometres in 31 days it was, which was quite cool. And I'd done that for Alder actually. And I think I raised about £5,000. So that was me first challenge that I really done. And then I done the 4x4x48 Goggins challenge, a 4-mile run every 4 hours for 48 hours. Done, multiple half marathons and 10Ks. And then I raced. I've done marathons before, but I raced my first marathon, believe it or not, at Manchester last year. And then done a 3:06 there in that heat that we had on that day when it was like 27 degrees in the middle of April, which was quite crazy. And then done a few ultras as well, done a 37-mile ultra a couple of years ago. And then my biggest challenge I think I've done, well, nothing, definitely, I ran across the country, the width of England, unsupported, over 7 days in August last year, which was 208 miles over 7 days. So yeah, I absolutely love training. It's a huge part of my life. And then going into this year as well, I'm training for a sub-3 marathon, and then I've got a few other plans for a couple of other events that I want to do myself.
Wow. So talk us through what a sort of average running week looks like for you then. I mean, you're not going out doing 2 or 3 mile sessions, are you?
At the minute, my friend helps coach me because he's a brilliant runner. He's done 4 or 5 sub-3 hour marathons, so he coaches me. So this week, 35-mile week this week. So easy run on a Tuesday, which is 7-mile intervals on a Wednesday morning, which is 800-meter repeats for this week it was. Thursday, it was a 5-mile easy run. I've done my long run today, which is a Friday, done 15-mile, 11er. Steady pace, which was 7 30-minute miles, and then 4 at marathon pace at about 6:40s. And then Saturday, it'll just be another easy run, and then Sunday I'll be in the gym doing some strength stuff. So don't forget your strength stuff if you're training for a marathon, because they are super important. Yeah. And then every other week as well, get up some hills. That's what I do. Where I live in Liverpool, and there's an area in Liverpool, Everton, and it's just full of hills. So train hills, because no marathon or half marathon, you're going to have it flat.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? If you're a beginner, a novice runner, you're training for your first marathon and you're looking to do a sort of get you round schedule, you don't need to worry too much about hills or intervals or any of that kind of stuff. You just go out, you do what you need to do, and it will all be good on the day. But when you're looking for a sub-3, then of course it's all about the speed work and the intervals and the progression runs and all these lovely hill sessions. And of course the conditioning, which is essential for everyone. And I think it's something that most people don't do. It's really, really important. And we did a podcast with the physio yesterday, and there's lots of discussion about strength work. What does your strength session look like?
Yeah, so for me, I just make it dead easy for myself, because I don't really enjoy going to the gym. I like to run, as runners do. They like putting the trainees on, not thinking about anything and going for a run. But for me, I just go to a strength class. I don't have to think about anything. And it's usually like kettlebells, loads of lower body stuff. I find for me, it makes me more stronger, more powerful when I'm running, but also it prevents a lot of injuries as well. I don't, I'm not a physio or anything like that, but it will prevent you getting injured. So just don't overcomplicate it, I would say. Yeah, just lower body stuff and get moving.
Right. Okay. And have you managed to avoid injury so far?
Yeah, do you know what I have? I had a one niggle last year, which was around my knee, but it was coming up from my thigh. So everything was quite tight around there. Again, I spoke to one of my other mates who's a physio. He gave me a few strength exercises that I needed to do, and it was cleared up within 2 weeks. So yeah, fingers crossed, touch wood. I don't get any injuries going forward, yeah. But you know what? There's nothing worse being injured, is there? It's one of the, when you're injured, you just want to be fit.
You don't realize how lucky you are to be able to go out for a run.
Yeah.
When you're injured, you just sit there and think, God, all those days where I looked out the door and thought, no, I can't be bothered today. And
Yeah.
how desperate I am to go at the moment. Yeah, you got to make the most of the good days. Talk us through the calendar challenge, because that obviously is becoming more and more popular now. What was it like when you got started? What sort of warm up, what prep had you done for that?
Absolutely none. It was in lockdown, so it was when everyone had a little bit more time. I just needed a focus. I really needed something to focus on. And I was scrolling through Instagram, and I can't remember the guy who actually created the challenge. He was an American guy, but he did it in miles. I was like, I can't commit that much time. I'm not doing it in miles. I'll do it in kilometers. But I didn't do any prep. The way that I looked at it was, me prep would be at the start when I was doing 1K, 2K, 3K. And then for me, the challenge probably really started probably halfway through the month, around about 15 kilometers. You're really putting in the miles every day there. So it was an incredible challenge though. I was updating everybody on my social media pages, telling them what it was like that day, how I'd found it, trying to plug for more donations, telling them it was very, very hard and difficult. And one thing that I do remember from it is that when we were in lockdown, it was when we had that glorious weather, and every day I was going out, it was lovely. It was like therapy for me. It was so nice. And because I was putting it on my social media pages all the time, it was growing a bit of a profile. So, people were coming out joining me on runs. And I remember that last 31st of July, it was when restrictions were lifted a little bit. So we had a bit of a do in the pub, and it was so good. And, raising that amount of money. And I'd done it for one of our appeals, actually, at Alder charity. We just launched our 7 in 10 mental health appeal, and which was highlighting that 7 in 10 children don't have access to mental health support at an early enough age. And we were building a mental health unit on site at Alder, be able to kind of raise that much money and it benefit children's mental health was super important for me.
That's incredible. I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it absolutely builds on one of the 4 training principles, or the principle of progression. I mean, obviously with that progression, it's about the long run gradually getting longer every week, whereas this was every day the run got longer. But it's all about that progression. Looking at the other 3 sort of principles of training, then you talk about the individualization. I mean, obviously your schedule is very, very different to anybody else's. Do you go for runs with other people sometimes where you find that you're going too quickly and you're having to adjust your pace, which obviously isn't a great thing?
Yeah, for me, I do run a lot on my own, just because of work-life balance. Whenever you get that hour or hour and a half, you need to take it. I've got a 17-month-old son, so he's not always up for me going for a run. He wants to do other things. So for me, I like to train of a morning. I like to get up at 5:30, get out of the door for 6 o'clock. Everyone's still asleep, and I'm back in the door for latest 7:30, depending on what type of session it is. So we've the guy that trains me, my mate. We've got like a WhatsApp group, and we've got 5 or 6 people in there. And if there's anyone that can get out at that time, then yeah, we'll jump on it together, because we're all at a similar level, which is quite nice. But yeah, for me, I have to train in the morning. I have to get up. I have to do it early. And I was watching another podcast, a guy called Nick Bear. He's an American influencer, and he said something, and it's always stuck with me. He said the reason he does his training is because no matter what his training in the morning, no matter what happens throughout the day, he's done his training, and it doesn't matter. There's nothing that can get in the way of his training, and because he's already done it, and that's always stuck with me. I went for a run on I think it was Monday night, just because I couldn't get up in the morning. Something happened. Absolutely hated every step of it. I just hated it. But everybody's different, aren't they? People might not like going for a run in the morning. People might like doing it in the evening. What I've learned is that everybody's different. So whatever suits you and whatever your schedule is, and whatever, if you can get 30 minutes in there or 45 minutes in the evening, just do whatever works for you, because not everybody is the same.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And then if we talk about the principle of specificity, then you went through your schedule before, and it is predominantly running training. The only time you're in the gym really is for the strength session. You're not doing a huge amount of cross training stuff.
Just like you say, just some strength training, once a week, if I can, twice a week, but just because when you're ramping up them miles, your time runs out. But if we didn't have to go to work, it'd be quite good, wouldn't it? Because you could you could get all the miles in like you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the principle of overload, of course, which is where a lot of the good stuff happens to the body. Where the stresses that you're putting on the body sort of play out on the rest days, particularly. How many rest days are you having? Is it like once a week?
Yeah, once to twice a week at the minute it is. So it's usually long run is for everybody on a Sunday. That's when everyone's probably got the most time. I've done mine on a Friday today, but long run on a Sunday and then rest day on the Monday, just kind of letting your body fully recover, and then getting in with some easy miles on the Tuesday, and then getting your legs warmed up again for them intervals on the Wednesday. So yeah, rest day once to twice a week, but I'm sure as I get closer towards the marathon in the next few weeks, it'll probably be definitely going down to one.
Yeah. So just give us a quick summary of what that run across the country was like.
Yeah, tough, tough. I'll tell you where the idea came from first of all, because I only decided I was doing it 8 weeks before I actually done it, basically. So we were planning an event at Alder, and we were planning to do a mascot relay event across the country. Our mascot is a big blue elephant. So the idea of the event would be you do a 10-mile run in this elephant costume in your team of 5 or 10, pass the baton on, pass the costume onto the next team waiting, and the elephant would run across the country. So I said, well, I'll go and do a recce of it. I'll go and run it. Didn't really think about it. Just thought, yeah, it's only 208 miles. And then I was trying to get out every single day, just trying to get as many miles in as I could. I think the most miles that I'd done in the build up to it, I'd done 2 45-mile weeks. And then obviously I was training. That was the most that I'd done training wise. And then I got started off just on the coast near Hull, and I ran the full length of the Transpennine Trail, which is 208 miles. It is over 7 days. Carried all my kit on my back. I had 3 pairs of shorts, 3 t-shirts, and that was pretty much it. And obviously snacks that I was stocking up each day. And it worked out. It was basically 7 ultra marathons in 7 days. And there's one story which it'll stick with me forever. And it was just like one of them pinch me moments where it was on the Wednesday. I was stopping off in Doncaster, and a hotel very kindly donated the room for the night for me. And I was sitting there in all me branded gear, and these 3 women were sitting outside. And they kept on looking over, and I was like, what are they looking at? So we're going to go back up to my room, and she said, do you mind me why you dressed like that? Because I have this big bucket hat on, all of this branded Alder Hay stuff. And I was like, obviously telling them what I'm telling you now. I'm running across the country. And she's like, oh, we all work in the charity world. This is absolutely amazing what you're doing. This is unbelievable. So I was chatting to them for, about 20, 30 minutes. And one of the mums who was there, her little girl is disabled as well. I was doing it for 3 children's charities. I was doing it for Alder Hay. I was doing it for Owen McVeigh Foundation, which is a children's cancer charity. And I was doing it for Rainbow Club, which is a kind of a school for disabled children. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I've bumped into you. I'm doing it for children's charities. And then obviously we were chatting, and she said, have you got clothes to wear for tomorrow? I said, I've got them, but they stink because I've only got 3 days worth of clothes and it's Wednesday now. She said, well, I only live over the road. Do you want me to take them and I'll wash them for you? I was like, oh, thank God. So she went and washed them for me and brought them back, and then night sleep. So I wasn't stinking for the remainder of the trip. And then, finished on a Sunday at Southport, and, we had a big party after it. And yeah, raised £6,500 or £6,000 it was from that event, which was again amazing. So, but yeah, I've, yeah, I don't think it's really sunk in what I did actually do, because it just kind of felt normal in a way, without kind of, you know, sounding too arrogant. It was just, I enjoyed doing it. It was amazing. And then when I was doing like then training runs, I was just thinking at the finish line. Like that's all that was in my head. Just think of the finish line. Who's going to be there? Your family, everyone that you care for and you love. And it was everything that I imagined. So that's what got me through the whole 7 days.
Yeah, I think visualization is such a powerful tool, isn't it? And I always say that whenever we're doing sessions with London Marathon runners, is just, you know, it will be grim training in January, February, but you've just got to keep thinking about how amazing that moment will be when you cross that line, and that feeling of
Yeah.
excitement. It's I mean, it's hard to put that into words really, but it's so important that you think about what positive stuff is coming, because it can be tough on the
Yeah.
training. I'm sure you had some very tough times when you were training for that. But let's talk a little bit about the fundraising then. You did the fundraising for the calendar challenge and obviously pretty much for everything, including that last challenge. What did you do for the first one, for the calendar challenge? How did you approach your fundraising for that?
I was just very, very vocal on social media. That's the way I like to do it. You know, make the way that I like to look at it is make people know about what you're going through, whether it's through that training run or whether it's through that challenge. So every single day, obviously, I was doing it for 31 days. I was doing an update at the end of every day, how it went, you know, the distance that I've done, and then always sharing my fundraising link. And that's what I do for all of my challenges. Just let people know what you're doing, and, you know, telling them about your experience, whether it was on that training run, whether it was, you know, during the event or post event, whatever it is, because without you telling them, they're not going to know. And without sharing that fundraising link, they're not going to know about it. You know, we live in a world where social media can be so powerful for us, particularly with fundraising. So that's the way I like to do it, is just get that message out there as much as you can.
Right. And do you use video within that then? So it's a
Yeah.
message to camera every time.
Message the camera every time, yeah. And when I was doing me run across the country last year, I'd done a full vlog for every single day, and then people could like do the challenge with me almost. And it was a 5 or 6 minute video every single day. They could see me when I was struggling. They could see me when I was happy. They could see me when I was, you know, I needed a little bit of extra support. And then people were sharing it onto their pages, and it just gained a little bit of traction, which was quite cool.
Yeah, I think the most sort of extreme example of that, and obviously he had a team with him, was the hardest geezer when he did his Africa trip,
Yeah.
was he? I mean, some of the footage from that was just unbelievable, and it does make a huge difference to fundraising. But everyone can do it, because we've all got phones, and just take a little clip when you're out in the rain or freezing conditions on your long run in February, and post it, and it does. I mean, I've done so many podcasts with runners who have had real success doing that, is showing people how hard it is. Because one of the problems when people watch the London Marathon, and generally the weather's decent or the sun's out, and everyone goes, "Oh, that looks pretty easy. Yeah, okay." So they've just basically turned up and started running. No, they haven't. They've had months in cold, wet conditions, but often they don't share enough of that. And I
Yeah.
think getting a little clip onto social of awful conditions can make such a difference when it comes to your fundraising. Um, do you focus on one social media or channel, or have you got multiple channels?
So I ventured into the world of TikTok last year.
Oh,
Never
did
had.
you?
Yeah. I got told to go onto TikTok, so that was an eye opener. So I created a TikTok profile when I was doing them training runs as well. Usually it was Instagram and Facebook, but yeah, I feel like I'm part of the crew now. I've got TikTok, so TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Right. Okay. Nothing on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, sorry, and LinkedIn. Yeah,
Right.
LinkedIn.
Okay. And can you monitor? I mean, do you post at the same time on all channels, or can you monitor what's most successful?
Yeah, I monitor. I post on the channels all at once. Because when I was doing that challenge, I just wanted to go to sleep then. So I was like, get the video made and then get the videos out and then let the donations come in. But yeah, I think you can monitor the performance because, it's not just about views at the end of the day, is it? The reason why you're doing that is to raise more money. So, you can see the people who are donating, and I know who's seen that on Instagram or who's seen that on LinkedIn. I think you can monitor, but again, I don't think it's gonna be a bad thing posting on a platform and you don't get any traction from it. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You've made the video, you've done it anyway. So just post it on the other platform. It's costing you no more time.
Do you do anything with email?
I had it at the bottom of my email signature, but that was it. But again, yeah, people, when I was speaking to, supporters who are fundraising for Alder Hay or suppliers who, give us race places for other things, a few of them did donate. So yeah, that did work.
Yeah, it does. Again, it's almost another skill set, isn't it? It's, dividing your database up into different types of people and slightly different messaging for different people. But I think when you've got a vehicle like social media that you're using really successfully, you can focus on it. I mean, have you done any events, any quizzes or raffles or auctions or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I didn't do anything that's for this challenge, but when I'd done the calendar club challenge in lockdown, like I said, we had a bit of a get together at the pub, and then we had collection buckets, and people, were throwing the spare cash that they had in there. So it's always good to, if you can, do a little bit of a celebration thing at the end, or whether it's good, and like you say, like a quiz night is always very, very popular.
Yeah, I presume a lot of the runners for Alder Hay now, training for London or any of these other events, you've probably got quite a few examples there, haven't you, of people that are putting on great events because they just work so well, don't they? Because, people want a little bit of something, don't they? They want to go out and have a good night out. And if it's for charity as well, even better.
Yeah. And then target, whether it is for London or whether it's for, international challenge that you're fundraising for, you're not going to raise that money by just asking for it. You've got to do other things to help you reach that target. So yeah, putting on them quiz nights, putting on them bake sales, putting on whatever it is. I always say, do what you enjoy. If you don't like quizzes, don't put a quiz night on because you're not going to enjoy doing it. If you don't like baking, don't bake. No one's going to buy your cakes. It's not going to be very good. Yeah, you do have to do other things to supplement to get to that target.
Yeah. Now, if you're running for a charity on a charity entry, it generally comes with a pledge figure, a target that you have to raise. When you did your challenges, you're almost in effect an own place runner, aren't you? You haven't got an entry from a charity. How did you set your targets, and did you change your targets as you move through the challenge?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I think when I done my challenge last year, my target was £4,000. That's what I set it as. Obviously, you raise £4,000, so put it up to 4.5. Put it up to 5. So I think it's always good to put obviously whatever the minimum target is, set it at that first of all. But if you know that you're on your way to raising that, put it up a little bit more. If people see that you've raised it already, they might be less likely to give, or they might, give you the tenner on it rather than the 20 quid that they were originally going to give. So it's always good to keep an eye on that, I'd say.
Yeah, and what about the calendar club challenge then? How much did you set that at 5 at the start, or did that progress as you went through?
No, I don't think I actually had a target for that. I think it was just, I can't even remember what I set my fundraising page as. But I think it raised a hell of a lot more than what I expected it to. I think maybe it was like let's try and raise £1,000. But because you're posting them videos and, you're doing them updates, people can see how difficult it is. And they're almost invested into it, and they want to see you achieve.
So you put a lot of your successes in fundraising down to the use of those videos.
100%. And if you're not confident in using, if you're doing videos, it doesn't have to be a video. It can be, you can do story updates now, but you can type, and you can do other ways. It doesn't have to be a video, but just the use of social media, I'd say generally.
And do you think that the repeated use of those videos then sort of got to some people who at the start would have been, yeah, no, I'm not sure about that, but God, no, I've seen 15 of these now, so I almost feel compelled to do it. Did you get that?
Probably, yeah. They probably were like, oh God, I'm sick and tired of him posting these videos. If I donate, will he stop? So maybe, I didn't stop, by the way, once they donated. I carried on. I probably posted even more. But maybe, yeah, it's like, it's the more you see something that, the people feel obliged and that they've got to donate, maybe, don't they? So yeah, possibly. Again, it's probably hard to monitor that.
Yeah. When you did your very first kilometer of the Calendar Club Challenge, did you ever think you would be where you are now? Because I did a session recently with a guy called Ivor who was helped to do, he had coaching to do his first 5K, done no running, overweight, did his first 5K. This was 3 or 4 years ago, and now he's training for the Marathon des Sables in April.
Yeah.
Did you feel that, did you think at that point, this is what I'm aiming towards, or is it just grown and grown and grown?
Yeah, it's like anything, isn't it? It grows and it develops, and like you've just said there about that person there who ran the 5K and now training for the Marathon des Sables. It's just starting, and you don't know what it's going to grow into. I've trained all my life, but you don't know what you're going to be able to achieve next year or within 2 years or within the next 10 years, because you grow as a person, don't you? And you can see what you're capable of. And that was my boundary this year, but you know what? I think I can push it even more. I think I can push it even further. You know what's a good example is, just going to shout out my girlfriend. She was like, I can't run, I can't do it, I can't do it. And for years, I was like, you can't, of course. She trains, she goes to the gym, but she's like, I can't run, I don't like it. And I was like, well, just start, just start. It's Friday today, so after 5 days already this week, she's ran for 4 and she absolutely loves it. And she ran to work yesterday. She took her stuff into work the day before, so it was all there for her. She didn't have to carry a backpack or anything. And then she got a shower in work, and do you know what? She's committed to it now, and it's just starting. You know, she said to me last night, she's like, "Do you think I could run a 10K?" I was like, "Of course you can. You'll be able to do whatever you set your mind to." So I always just say, just start, and then just keep increasing them boundaries, whatever they are, because we are so much more capable of what we actually think we are ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Years ago, I trained my wife to do her first marathon, and our first training session was a minute, and that was it. And then we stopped and we just walked for a bit, because I said, I don't
Yeah,
want you finishing a session so tired you don't want to do it again. I think that's really important, that, small steps and you can do anything you want to do. And
you
I
can.
think you've shown it with the distances you're doing, and so did Ivor with plans for the Marathon des Sables. But for you, it must be difficult now, because you must do a marathon and think, this is just almost wasting my time.
No, no, no. Marathons are their own beast, aren't they? They are. Marathons are tough. And that's why there's, 12 or 16-week training plans in place for them, because they are tough. But no, I like the training for them now. I don't know about kind of like you, but I think when you were saying about when people were watching like London Marathon on TV and, it's nice and warm or whatever, but that day, it should be the easiest run of your training block, really, because you put so much effort, so much time and energy into all of that training over your 16 weeks or whatever it is. That's your celebration almost. That's go out and enjoy it. Obviously that doesn't always happen, but that should be like the finale and the celebration, and everyone's cheering you along.
Showtime, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Like like you said, no one sees all of them, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning in the middle of January when it's raining and it's windy and you don't want to go out, but you do it anyway. No one sees that. But if you're posting them on your social media pages, then they will see it.
Yeah, yeah. Adam, that was fascinating. I hate to think what challenges you've got coming up, but I'm sure they will all be linked to great fundraising targets as well, which is really good to see. So I really appreciate you spending time with us, and good luck with everything that's coming next.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back, as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.